Hi everyone, welcome back to the Modern React 19 series. In chapter 1, we focused on the React mental model component, state, declarative UI, and how React helps us manage UI complexity. Now we are going to move from theory to practice. So in this chapter, we are going to create our first React application from scratch. We will install and verify our development environment, use Vite to scaffold the application, understand the generated project structure, run the development server, and then actually make changes to our application. And one thing I want to put, I don't want you to simply copy the commands I'm typing. So I'm going to explain what each important piece is doing so that by end of this chapter we understand how a React application actually start and run. So let's switch to the terminal, and what we are going to build I will explain you. So before starting typing any command, let's understand what we are actually creating. So at a high level, we are going to create a project on our machine. White will provide the development tooling and development server. So React will provide the UI layer, and finally the browser will load and render the application. So the flow we are going to build is like a project. We have a white React and browser. The distinction is important. React and byte are not the same thing. So React is a library we are using to build a user interface. White is the development and building tool that help us develop and package that application. So let's start. We have to check these some of things in our machine. So first we need to know if Node.js is installed in our server. So then we have to check the npm version. So all these are already installed in my system, and uh, if you have not installed Node.js in your system, then you need, and only then you will be able to create the React application. So let's start. So you can see I have Node 22 version already installed in my system, and let's check npm version. I typed wrong. Np, it's m. So these command tell us which version are installed on our machine. So you can see I am currently using Node version v22 and npm version 10.9.8. And if Node is not installed in your machine, pause the video here, install the current version of Node, reopen your terminal and run these commands again. Now look on this slide. So why white? So now you would be wondering why we are using Byte. So Byte is a modern front-end building tool designed to provide a fast development experience. And one of the things, uh, like you will be immediately noticing that how quickly the development server starts. And another important feature is hot module replacement. This means that when we change our source code during development, White can update the application very quickly without requiring us to manually restart the development server. So White also provide the building process we need when we eventually prepare our application for production. So for this learning series, White gives us a clean and modern environment in which we can focus on learning React. So White describes itself as a building tool with a development server, hot module replacement, and a production build command. But remember one thing, It may be an interview question, why it is not a React, why it is the tooling around our React application. So now we will be creating our first project. So I'm going to use the white command. So I came here, npm create white at the rate. Let's use latest. Yes. So whatever the project name you want to say, you can give here. So let's give it React series. So now this is asking which framework uh, you want to choose. With the help of White, we can create a vanilla application, Vue, React, Angular. So whatever we want. So we are using React here. I choose React. Enter. So now whatever we want to use. So if we want to use TypeScript or TypeScript plus React compiler, JavaScript plus React compiler. So I will go with simple React. Let's use TypeScript. So which linter to use? Let's use this. Install with npm and start now. Yes. So it also started the development server. So let's open the code. So you can see the files in this left side in my VS Code. So these are important files: app.tsx, main.tsx, similarly index file, packet.json, and we have this Vite config. So if you look on this src, the src directory is where most of our application source code will live, and app.tsx contains our main application component. So now this main.tsx is where our React application is connected to the browser, and index.html is the HTML entry point, and this package.json describes our project and its dependencies and scripts. Then we will understand each of these properly in the next few slides. So I'm going slide by slide. Created a React project, install dependencies done. We discussed it, and look on it. How does the browser start the app? So let's try to understand it. So, and this is where We should spend some time explaining the diagram. Now let's understand what actually happens when we open this application. The browser starts with index.html. I already mentioned and shown you index.html. Inside the HTML file, we have a root element, this one. So div id is equal to root. This element is essentially the mounting point for our React application. Then our entry point for a JavaScript is this one. So React uses the root element as the place where it renders our component tree. So you can see here we have used this root keyword, which we already see in index.html. Document.get element by id root. So hope you can understand as uh, I have a one suggestion. If you know JavaScript only, then you will be able to learn React. And if you don't know JavaScript, then please spend some time understanding JavaScript basics. Then you will be able to understand this code very easily. So this flow is very important. So if you understand this flow, the React project structure becomes much less difficult. It's very easy to understand. So now let's come to next slide. So this file is one of the most important files in a basic React application, because this is where React connects our component tree to the DOM. So depending on generated project, we import create root from React DOM. We find the HTML element with the ID root. Then we create a React root and render our app component into it. We don't need to memorize this code right now. So I just want to understand the architecture. So it's a simple find the root, create a React root, render app. So now this strict mode. So strict mode is a development time feature that helps identify potential problems in our application. We will talk about it in more detail later. So let's come to next slide. So let's look at other important file, app.tsx. So guys, here you are seeing app.jsx, and here you will be seeing app.tsx. The reason is we choose uh, TypeScript when installing the React. It's our choice whether we want to use JavaScript or TypeScript. So I will just remove this code for now. So I will try to make it simple so you understand. So let's just choose here simple h1. Let's use only one tag. Seems there is a problem in syntax. Yes, we have to use here h1. But question is why it's not showing. So I don't want to spend much time on it. So let's make it simple for now. So you can see this HTML in browser, and the syntax that looks like HTML inside JavaScript is called as JSX. So don't worry if JSX looks unfamiliar right now. So that's going to be the entire focus of our next chapter. And so let's quickly look at package.json file as well. So I call this the project contract because it describes important information about our application. It contains our dependencies, it contains development dependencies, and very importantly, it contains the script we use to run and build our application. Then, for example, when we run npm run deb, npm looks at the script and execute the white development server. So npm isn't um, so npm is not only understanding the command; it's simply executing the script defined here. And we already ran the application, so let's close it for now. So I will show you and run the application from scratch. So you can see this command already, deb. So I'm just going to run from again in our terminal. Npm run deb. You can see the server has already again started. So notice that we are not deploying anything to a remote server. This is running locally on our machine using the white development server. Let's come to the next slide. Run the application, and so now let's demonstrate one of the feature that makes the development experience so nice. I came here, app.tsx. Let's add hello react. Let's give here a student 15 August. So today is Independence Day as well. So now look, I added another line, and when I look back in uh, S2, so it should be S2. So if I look back in my browser, automatically changed. So this is called HMR capabilities of React. So HMR means hot module replacement. So we understood that the generated white project is great starting point, but it contains some demonstrated code as well. So I don't want us to carry unnecessary starter code throughout this course. So let's focus on understanding the basics for now. And so B started with empty project, B verified node and npm, then we created a React project using Byte, B installed the dependencies, we explored the project structure, and then we understood index.html, main.tsx, app.tsx, and package.json. We started the Byte development server, and then we made our first changes to the application. And most important, now we understood the basic journey of React application. The browser loads the HTML, JavaScript starts, React runs, creates the root, and our component tree is rendered into the root. So there is a one thing we have using throughout this chapter without actually explaining. So you already see this code. So this is nothing, this is just a GSX. So the next chapter we are going to stop here and properly understand what GSX is, how it works, and what it allows us to do, and what actually happens with the GSX compilation. So see you in next chapter. Thank you for now.